All right, you guys, welcome to Team Fit Dynasty's Monday night team call. I am so excited tonight because it's not just me talking. We have a very special guest who is willing to join our call and talk to us, David Atkins, who is a great friend of mine. He is just an amazing person. I'm so excited for him because he just released his very first book, The Leveled Up Life, which I have right here. I'm reading it right now. It's incredible. So I could not be more excited for you guys to hear from him. Dave, and he'll probably tell you, but I'm just going to do a little introduction. So he is from Katona, New York. He lives with his wife, Kristen, who's also a friend of mine and who works the business with him. She was a elite coach this year. He has 3 daughters, Cassidy, Sadie, and Addison. Did I get them right? I got them right. Okay. And so he's local here. I've gotten to know him and his family, and I'm just so excited. He's a retired New York State Police captain. I think he was there for 20 years, right? 20 years?
22.
22 years. And he is now getting into motivational speaking in addition to being a full-time Beachbody coach. So his book is, he's going to talk about that tonight. So I want to introduce David Atkins to you guys.
Thank you, Jess. Hello, ladies. Are there any men on here? There's no dudes. It's totally fine because having Kristen and 3 daughters, I'm totally used to being surrounded by girls each and every day, except my male lab. I have a male lab just because I had to keep
I forgot about Harbor. I'm sorry. You have a dog named Harbor.
Yes, I'm impressed. You remembered all 3 of my daughters' names and the dog's name. That's pretty impressed. So, guys, I'm so excited to come on and speak to you guys tonight and just to share a little bit of my story, share a little bit of some principles that I have learned to live with and try to, I wouldn't say master, but things that I've recognized through my 12 years of being a coach and my time as being, with the state police that I want to share with you and hit on a couple of those over the next like 30 minutes or so. But to give a little bit about me, yes, Jess said, I'm married to my wife, Kristen. We have 3 daughters, ages 17, 14 and 11. So yes, there's a lot of drama that goes in my house every single day, and it's quite interesting and entertaining. But I was a New York State trooper. I retired as a captain in Westchester County here in New York, overlooking all state police operations for the entire county of Westchester. And to kind of give you an idea, we handled I overlooked about 400,000 to 500,000 911 calls a year. And I just retired a year and a half ago. And I share this for something for you guys to hear right out of the gate is that I built my business to where it is today with Beachbody and all of the things that I've learned to write my book and, other things that I'm pursuing as a speaker. I did that pretty much while I was working full time. So like the first thing I always like to say is that it's not possible, it's past possible. So whatever like your goals are that you have in this business or any goals you have on in your life, maybe it's just health and wellness, maybe it's marriage goals, maybe it's relationship goals, maybe parenting goals, whatever it is, understand that in the most craziest of times that I still was able to build the business, was still able to be the best dad I can be here for my wife and bring me to where I am today. And I share that because I don't want people to think it can't be done. But a little bit how I got started and got connected with Beachbody is 12 years ago. I've been a coach for 12 years. It's almost 12 years this December. It's crazy. Makes me feel like super old. But anyway, I was a gym goer. I went to the gym multiple times a week. I ran the New York City Marathon a couple of times. And but I also struggled with the dad bod. I guess I didn't see it at the time, but I did. I was about 20, 25 pounds heavier than I am now. And a guy I worked with was trying to get me to do P90X. Like literally he had a burned copy of DVDs and he had them on my desk. And I'm like, dude, I'm not doing that Richard Simmons crap. I'm not doing those at-home workouts. And this went on for like 6 months. And the only reason it changed, and I always share this story because I think it's kind of interesting, is that we had a murder case here in New York, in Westchester County, and our main witness fled and went across the country to Houston, Texas. So myself and my partner who was trying to get me to do P90X on the Burns copy of DVDs, I put that out there because that's kind of how my journey started. We were sent across the country to find this witness of this murder case, and we found this female We interviewed her. We got everything we needed. We finished the day early. And I'm a big baseball fan, raised the roof, New York Mets fan. We're doing good this year. I have them all on in the distance. But I said to my friend Paul, I said, let's go to the Houston Astros baseball game. Like, we're done early. Let's go to the game. Tickets are dirt cheap compared to New York. And he's like, listen, I'll go to the Houston Astros baseball game, but you have to do Ab Ripper X from P90X. Do I have any P90X? Yeah, Diane, you're right. Go Mets. Do we have any P90X people in here? I know it's an older program. You're probably like, what is that PX90? But anyway, it was the ab workout, brutal, 25 reps. I couldn't finish it. It crushed me in the hotel room. And the next day I woke up so sore. And that finally was like the beginning of when I said, all right, this is something I need to try. So I started doing the workouts every single day in the beginning just to get healthy and fit. And after 90 days, I got great results. And then I did another round, and Kristen, my wife, joined me, and we were just doing it to get healthy and fit. I mean, so much so that people were like, David, Kristen, like, what are you guys doing? You lost this weight, you look great. And I would literally send them to the Beachbody website, not even knowing that there was a business opportunity to be a coach. And then I signed up to be a coach for the discount only. And I say that for our coaches that are on here, is that I started as a discount coach for a good 12 months. And I did that just to get a discount. And it wasn't until I started seeing other coaches have success. I started seeing people paying for car payments. I started seeing people make real income. And that's when I realized, like, oh my goodness, like, that's when my vision was born. And I remember at the time we were living paycheck to paycheck. Life wasn't going that well for Kristen and I. We would, just as much as we had good jobs, she was a school teacher and I was a state trooper, money was tight. And I remember hearing about this thing called Coach Summit. And I decided to charge my way to get there. And I'm not saying you should do that, but I charged my way to go to Coach Summit. And I remember getting there and seeing another male coach, Tommy Migran, on stage and hearing him speak. And in that moment, I had a light bulb moment. Like, that light bulb moment went off and said, if he can do this, I can do it. So, like, the first thing I like to share with you guys is the power of vision. Like, when you see something, you have to see it, like, before you're even there. And for me, seeing Tommy Migran on stage, I knew, like, it wasn't possible. It was past possible. And I say that because he did it, so then I knew I can do it. And I remember Kristen came to Summit as well the following year, and she wasn't a big believer. And she sat next to me, and we were watching people walk across stage. And she said, David, what's the difference between them and, like, us and you? And I remember just saying to her, I'm just like, time. That was it. Like, the only difference between them being up there and me or her not being up there was just we haven't had the time to build what we want. So, like, the first thing is the vision in your life has to be born. And some people are like, when it comes to, like, David, what happened? Like, how did you decide to write a book? And I probably should have opened with this because I wrote this down. So I'm kind of backtracking to how this all started. I would often get asked, like, David, how did you build $1 million Beachbody business? And I'm just putting the income disclaimer out there. Everybody's coach's income is on their own efforts, diligence, and skill. So basically it requires hard work, right? But people would often ask, like, what are the things that you do? Like, what are the things, how did you build it while working full-time in the state police? How did you do this with 3 kids? How did you do this? And I found that I was sharing a lot of the same things. And that when, like, 2 years ago, I was running in my village and I just had the vision of, like, I should write a book about the things that I have learned in 12 years that I apply not only to business, but my everyday life to help me move my life forward and be successful in all areas of life. Because, guys, I'm very big on being not only a great coach, but also being a great dad. I feel like everything connects. Everything connects, that we're public success. And also I'm the good in private for my 3 daughters every day. I'm the best human I can be for everybody, for all of you. And that kind of hit me when I had the vision of writing the book. And it basically came down to principles of success is what the book is about. So the first principle I kind of hit on was the power of vision. You have to literally write it down. You have to read it every single day, maybe place it up on the mirror in your bathroom. But the power that when you read something every single day, as I did, and I still have stuff here, written that I read every single day, the power of your vision, you don't realize your subconscious mind will start having you do and think for behaviors that are in a line with you achieving your goals. So you have to have a vision for whatever it is what you want. You cannot be like a ship without a sail, is what I call it. Like you're just floating out there, just hoping things get better. You need to visualize what it is. You need to write it down, put it on sticky notes, put it on the lock screen of your phone. You have to see it before you're even there. So that's my first point. Guys, the second point is this: understanding it's bigger than you. And each of these points are like chapters in my book, and I'm just highlighting on a few of them. Understand that except for one tiny speck in this world, the world is composed of people other than you. And I say that because in life, you're going to get knocked down. In life, your kids are going to get sick. In life, you will face death and maybe a family member. You may have went through some tough times in the pandemic. You are going to be challenged. But once you understand and you can anchor your drive on something bigger than you, and like Beachbody likes to call it, have a why. But once you can anchor it on something bigger than you, you will push through the hard times. Because if you're just in it for goals for yourself, or just for stuff that's internal, you will often stop when you get challenged and you hit obstacles because it's not bigger than you. Every single day, I push through because I know that my wife is looking for me. I know my 3 kids are looking for me. I know my team's looking for me. I know the people that I'm speaking to on this call are looking for my energy, my zeal, my passion, just like there's people looking at you. It doesn't matter if you are a coach, if you're not a coach, if you're emerald, if you're diamond, if you're a mom, a dad, it doesn't matter. I'm here telling you that life is going to knock you down. We all get punched in the mouth, and you have to have something that's bigger than yourself and understand the world is much bigger than just ourselves. And when you do that and you anchor that on your goals, you will overcome trials and tribulations that you're going to face every single day. And I think it's super important to understand that. Guys, the next point is this: making sacrifices. Understand that you cannot do the same thing for the next month or the next 30 days and expect your life to change. You cannot get up at the same time. You cannot go to bed at the same time. You cannot do the same behaviors every day and expect things to change. The thing that needs to change is you. Like people, when in the beginning for me, and even now, well, now that I'm a full-time coach, it's a little different. But when I worked full-time in the evenings, I didn't play in softball leagues anymore. I didn't watch, well, they didn't have Netflix back then, but I didn't watch hours of TV. Like that was my time to work and grow my business. That was my time to do my personal development, to think differently, to grow. I was very smart in using my time, saying if we all get the same 24 hours in a day, what's the difference between me and those people that are successful? It's they knew how to manage their time more effectively. So I had to make sacrifices. And I did often stay up late, 11:30 at night, midnight, working my business. And some people are like, but David, I need my 7 hours of sleep. I don't know, sleep 6 and sleep faster. I don't know what to tell you, but like, if you have goals and you have dreams, you need to make sacrifices. Life is not going to ease up on you. You can't want more out of life. We need to become more in the sacrifices that we make every single day. Guys, my next point is this. This is kind of a story that's near and dear to me. I know Jess knows it. If any of you read any of my book or heard me speak before, know this story. But I went to the University at Albany here in New York. And freshman year, I was horse playing around in a dorm room with a bunch of other freshman guys, being just typical freshmen in college. I ended up banging my head up against the wall on a cinder block wall, and I got knocked down. I was half out of it. And at that time, little did I know that over this person, name of David Brinkerhoff, goes by Brink. He came over and brought me a bag of ice and helped me that day, freshman year. And little did I know that day that Brink and I were going to become the best of friends. Through the following couple years in college, we became roommates our sophomore year. We also decided to join the volunteer ambulance corps and be EMTs. The University of Albany was about 20,000 people. It's a very big university. So they had their own volunteer ambulance corps to drive the ambulance. So Brink and I rode the ambulance together as EMTs. We ended up pledging a fraternity together in Albany, Sigma Alpha Mu. We were Sammy brothers. We did that as well. And then I also was working at Macy's for many hours through college. My parents were going through a divorce at the time, and I had to help pay my way through school. And I worked at Macy's, and Brink wanted a job as well to earn some extra money. So I got him a job at Macy's as well. Junior and senior year, we moved into a house off campus. It ended up being our fraternity house, but we were roommates with one other of our friends in half a house on the second floor. And then we both had goals of getting involved in law enforcement. So we both started taking all of the police exams, county, New York City Police Department, village, state, anything possible. And to no surprise, we scored about 1/10 of a point apart on the New York State Trooper exam. We both got like 99 point something. And we ended up both getting accepted to the same academy class in November of 1998. We went into the academy in November of 1998. I met my wife, Kristen. He met his wife, Barbara, and we were in each other's wedding parties. And we really remained the best of friends in the years that followed. We then both had goals of being on the state police SWAT team. It went by the MRT, the Mobile Response Team. It is a grueling 6-month sleep-away SWAT training, one of the elite trainings in the country that I'm proud to say that the state police in New York has. And the tryouts only come out every couple of years, and you have to be the rank of trooper to try out. And during the time waiting, I got promoted to investigator, which is our detective division. We're called investigators. I got promoted. And while I was an investigator, tryouts came again, and they had tryouts, and Brink tried out, and he made it. And he went through the 6 months. We had a graduation. And that same year in 2006 was a very rough year for the New York State Police. We had about 9 troopers that were shot in New York. Pretty rough year. And on April 24th, 2007, the state police in Margaretville, New York, upstate New York, they got a phone call of a guy acting really suspicious in a mini mart gas station parking lot. He was in and out of his minivan. He wasn't making sense. So they called the state police, and Trooper Matt Gambozo actually showed up there. He got out of the car, was walking up to this person to interview him to find out what was going on. And unbeknownst to the trooper, this guy had a warrant for his arrest. And just as the trooper was approaching him, he pulled out a gun, a handgun, and he shot the trooper point blank right in the chest. Now, thank goodness his vest caught it, but the guy fled the area, and a massive manhunt began that night of April 24th. The trooper lived, and the manhunt went on. The next morning, April 25th, I knew that the MRT was activated looking for this person that just shot a trooper. We knew there was a massive manhunt went on. I was not involved in it because, like I said, it was about 2.5 hours north of me, but we knew it was going on. And we got word that another trooper was shot. So I left my office, I went outside, I was dialing the phone. I'm like, Brink, I hear a trooper was shot, call me back. I know you're there with the MRT. And I hung up, called them again. It went right to voicemail. Brink, I hear a trooper was shot, call me back. And I went back in my office and I sat down, and off to my right, it's such a vivid memory, my friend Paul that got me to do P90X answered the business phone at our desks in the office. And he said, David, there's a guy named Adam on the phone. He said he went to college with you. I'm like, wow, that's odd. Why is Adam calling me? So I pick up the phone. I'm like, Adam, what's going on? I heard a trooper was shot. I'm trying to get in touch with Brink. And he's like, David, it was Brink. April 25th, 2007, I lost my best friend. He was shot and killed in a very violent shootout in a residence that this person was hiding in, and the MRT was going through the search. I share this with you because there's something that I live by. And I always like to say, life doesn't always fire a warning shot. And there are people on this call right now that are waiting for things to be less busy. We're waiting for the pandemic to fully pass us. We're waiting for gas prices to come down. We're waiting for 1,000 different reasons. And I'm here to tell you that we may not be here tomorrow. And the only thing guaranteed is today. Yesterday's in the past and tomorrow is in the future. And you have to understand, if there's one thing I want you to take away from this call, or one of the chapters that's in my book, which I get into more details of this story, is that whatever your goals are, I beg of you to please start going after them. Do not become part of the wealthiest place on earth, which they say is the graveyard, because it's full of goals and dreams and ideas that people never acted upon. Please don't become part of that stat. Things are always going to be challenging. And 1 week before Brink died, we were on a phone call joking about a family trip we were taking with our kids to the Outer Banks in the Carolinas. And a week later, I was crying over his dead body in the hospital on my knees, yelping that he was gone. And I say that with you guys because I know we all get caught up on it's busy when it's more convenient. And for me, I live each day as if it's my last. I know that we get 86,400 seconds in a day, and it's what I do with that time that's going to make a difference in our life. So please, life doesn't always fire a warning shot. Please write that down, underline it. It's near and dear to me, but I want it to be near and dear to you because you are all meant to live up to your potential in whatever that is, right? I also often say God's gift to us is potential, and our gift back is what you do with it. Don't ever underestimate the power that you can change your life for the better and the people around you. Guys, my next point is this, and I'm keeping track of the time here. Personal development. I know it's something that Beachbody talks about, but here's the deal. The person you are right now has to go through a growth journey if you want to achieve bigger and larger goals tomorrow. You cannot be the same person and achieve bigger things tomorrow. I often like to say, work with what you have, with where you are, because what you have is, I'll say it again. Work with what you have, with where you are, because what you have is plenty. Wherever you are right now, focus on that and that you are a better version of yourself than you were yesterday, each and every day. You need to improve and be better each and every day. And don't get caught up comparing your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 12. Okay? It's very easy to get caught up in the comparison game. Don't do that. But understand, like, if I open my desk right now, I have so many books. Like, my favorite author is John Maxwell. It's just endless reading, constantly growing each and every day, no matter what, because I understand that if I want more, I need to become more. It's a famous line from Jim Rohn. So I don't know what book you're reading, but you need to read something, right? And I talk about that in my book, The Leveled Up Life. The next thing, consistency. My next point is this. Okay, understand this. Consistency at the end of the day is going to win the game. And for the Beachbody coaches on here, to kind of give you an idea, I think this month is 129 months in a row in Success Club for me. I don't say that to brag. I say that to understand that I did this through work. I did this through the loss of my mother-in-law that was diagnosed with breast cancer, and we lost her in 3 months in her 60s, young and healthy, but we still showed up because I know that more times than not, you're not going to want to do the work. More times than not, you're not going to want to feel like maybe working out or feel like doing the things that move your life forward. Understand this. At the end of our emotions is nothing, but at the end of every principle is a promise. David, what do you mean by that? Our emotions may say, I don't feel like doing the work. I don't feel like doing the personal development. I don't feel like doing the workout. At the end of our emotions, at the end of those feelings we have, there's nothing that's going to help you. But at the end of every principle is a promise. Principle says you work out today, you're healthier today. You do personal development today, you are thinking differently in your mind today. You eat healthier today, you will be healthier today. Those are principles. So like in my book here are principles. When somebody actually, a couple days, 2 days ago, I had somebody actually ask me, I was at an event, I just did a keynote speaking event. I was doing a book signing and somebody said, like, David, all of these principles in your book, right? Do you feel you've mastered them? Like you don't struggle with any of them? And I said, absolutely not. I said, I am a human being. I struggle with every single one of the things that even I'm sharing with you ladies right now. I struggle with them, but I have learned that there are principles. And if I can push through when I don't feel like it and still follow them, that will propel me to being successful. There's a big difference. Don't try to be perfect. Try to recognize, all right, I'm struggling today. All right, my mindset's in a bad place. I need to do PD and be intentional with it so my mind changes. Right now, my energy stinks. I need to do this workout even though I don't want, because I know that consistency will help me succeed. So for me, all of the principles, and some of them I'm sharing with you, I struggle with them too. I've just learned to recognize them through and through and what I need to do to be intentional to overcome the trials and tribulations. Guys, the next thing is this. I'm just trying to see which ones I want to hit on. Facing your fears. Understand that being scared is part of the process. Understand that other people's opinions of you are not your reality, okay? I'll say that again. Other people's opinions of you are not your reality. Fear, there's the acronym FEAR, false evidence appearing real. Fear is the number one thing that stops people from achieving their goals because they are scared to start. It's the start that stops most people. But I need you to understand that you need to lean into the fear and understand it's part of the process. Before I just spoke last week, I was, oh my God, there's 1,500 people out there. I got to speak. That's nerve-wracking, but I'm like, all right, I have fear, but I need to lean into it. It's part of the process. All right, people aren't supporting me in certain goals I have. My spouse isn't supporting me. Okay, I understand that's going on, but I recognize I need to continue forward because I have that vision. So there's a story I heard that I often like to share. It's picture yourself lying on your deathbed, and around you are your gifts, your dreams, your goals, and they're looking down at you and saying, I came to you and you never gave me life. So I want you to ask yourself, whatever those goals and dreams are they going to die with you in the future, or are you going to give them life? Because it's fear that stops us so often, and you need to lean into the fear. It's part of the process every single day. The next one is this, facing naysayers. You're going to deal with them. You're going to deal with people that aren't going to support you. And often it's people that are your closest, your spouse, your parents, your siblings, your friends. I even had a time when my brother, when I told him, I'm going to retire from the state police soon because of my Beachbody business and I'm going to do this. And he kind of chuckled like, yeah, okay, David. All right, whatever. And I talk about that, but that's the truth, and I think that once we understand that that is part of what we're going to deal with every single day, you have to understand that your imagination is a preview of life's coming attractions for you. They were put in your mind for you, not for somebody else. So whatever it is you want to accomplish, I need you to be the best version of you and not let somebody else impose what they think you should be doing on you, because that stops a lot of people. All right, the last point I'm going to hit on, I'll take some questions, and I'm just kind of going down a random list, and they're all, again, like chapters and details, is growth comes from adversity. Understand that true character of a man or a woman, a true character man, is developed in times of struggle and trial and tribulation. The adversity is what's going to make you stronger. The adversity that you're feeling, the no's that you're getting in your business, that's okay, because it's preparing you for the person you are going to become, right? You need to go through adversity and not always take the path of least resistance. So often we come to a fork in the roadway and it's like, there's an uncomfortable path that I know I should take, but that's hard. So I'm going to take the easy way out. The easy way out doesn't work. When you're through some tough times, understand you are being molded to create the new you, right? Has anybody ever heard the whole thing with the diamond in its original form is a piece of coal, but through extreme pressure and heat and cutting, you form the unbreakable diamond? It's very similar to us. So understand when you're going through the adversity that you are being created to the bigger you. If you're not feeling any adversity, you're not growing. If you are comfortable every single day, then you're not growing. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable and understand it's part of the process. So just kind of to recap some of the things I hit on: the power of vision. You have to have a vision. 2, it's bigger than you. 3, making sacrifices. 4, life doesn't always fire a warning shot. 5 is personal development. 6 is consistency. 7 is facing your fears. 8 is facing naysayers. And 9 that I hit on is growth comes from adversity. And the last one I have on here, another one I have, I'll say, guys, is never, ever, 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 ever quit. Don't ever quit. Nothing comes out of quitting. Nothing. And I don't ever want my 3 daughters to see that we had something amazing, this coaching opportunity or other things that we could do in our life, and it got hard and we gave up. Because I have seen the power of our kids. My kids don't always do what we say, but they watch everything we do. And we think that when we start and stop and we give up, that it's just affecting us. It's actually not. It's those people closest to us that are watching you start and stop or giving up on whatever it is that you said you were going to do long after the emotion on how you felt when you first started is gone. So don't ever quit on yourself, and don't ever quit, because the legacy that you leave is based on the impact you make on other people. And that often starts with those closest to you. So guys, that's that. I'm open to take some questions about anything about the book or anything, Beachbody, coaching, workouts. I don't care. I'm here for you guys. I'm a little bit more, so I'll open it up.
Thank you so much. First, I just want to say thank you. Well, you guys can either unmute yourself or put it in the chat. I took a lot of notes, and I am reading the book right now. It's great. I love the stories in the book. I relate to when people tell stories. So around all these principles, there are a lot of stories, which is awesome. And I also wanted to mention too, for the month of August, for the whole downline, if you hit Success Club, I am going to be sending you a copy of this book. So that's exciting. If anybody, I know we have Team Cup going on, so we have a lot of people who are going to be hitting Success Club this month. So can't wait for that, to be sending lots of these books. But does anybody have any questions?
And I know what's going to happen, and I'm dropping the book link in the chat if anybody wants to take a look at it. I'm going to get message. It happens after every call. People send me messages. Can I ask you a question? So ask away on anything. Business, non-business. You guys are quiet. Jess, your people are quiet. I'm going to just call people out. I see Jack.
I want to ask you a question, actually. When you hit elite for the first time, obviously you were working for the New York State Police. Kristen was teaching, I'm assuming. Like, how long did that take you?
To hit elite?
Mm-hmm.
So my first elite year, let me think this through. In 2014, I think was or 16. Now you're making me think. I know that for 2 years, I was a discount coach. I started hitting Success Club, and I was doing it just for the discount. When I went all in, the business, we went all in after that. It was like 2 years later that we grew to 6 figures, and that's when I hit elite. Okay. So I would say we're talking 2014.
Okay, so That's interesting too, because this is the other thing. It's like you have your original sign up date, right? And then you have your business start date, like the actual time you really start working.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's the
You're
thing. Like you guys, you could be a coach for 5 years and then decide that you want to really start working.
And when I was a discount coach, I was sending people to still get it like through beachbody.com, not even through me. Like I was the discount coach. So yeah, there was a big difference of my born on date and the date I started the business were two very different dates, and they were probably a couple years apart.
Yeah, and it's just super encouraging too to know like that you can build to elite in your, like, you don't, I was on a call with someone today asking what the real time commitment was, and if you're steadfast and consistent and you're putting in, like, you're doing your workout and then you're putting in your action hour, like if you're doing that every single day and you chip away and you do it and you show up, you can hit premier and elite. Like it's definitely possible. And I posted today, like, I've always been a part-time coach. Like I was a full-time stay-at-home mom. Now I work a full-time job, and I've always coached part-time, so it's definitely a doable thing. It's just, you have to be consistent, just like with your workouts. You're never going to see success and results with your workouts if you're like, oh, I'll work out for a week and then take 3 weeks off and then maybe do a day. Like that's not going to work. Same thing with your nutrition. So if you apply that to your business, it's the same.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Really good point. Let me see if there's, so Daria, thank you. It's good. How do you engage interest customers that are not familiar with Beachbody? It's a great question. So listen, I have learned, and this is something I think a lot of newer coaches struggle with, or a lot of coaches struggle with. I am not Beachbody. I'm a dad of 3 daughters that's busy. That Beachbody is the vehicle for me to be healthy and fit. So the way I gauge interest is I often just share my lifestyle. Like, these are the workouts I do. They work for me. I do them from home because it's so much harder to get to the gym with 3 kids. And it fits in my lifestyle. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to connect with other people, other dads or moms that have multiple kids that struggle with finding time to work out, and say, wow, I'm very similar to David, and he found a way to get healthy and fit. What is he doing? So the thing is that when I do it, it's my story. Like, I am not Lift More. I'm not P90X. Some people, like, their cover photo or profile photo is a Beachbody fitness program. I think we need to understand, if we're all selling the same workout programs and selling the same Shakeology and sharing the same thing, then what's the difference? The difference is you, like you as a human being. So I think you just need to share you being a product of the product, that you use it, paired with your story, breadcrumbing in who you are as a person, which will then attract people like you and then get inspired by what you're doing, and ultimately lead to them either asking you what you're doing or you're inviting them because you're watching them watch you. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I do have one more question, and I'll insert the compliance legal disclaimer. We talked about this in a couple team calls ago, like income disclaimer. You have to, it's definitely, what did he say? It's you're an outlier.
Everybody's success is based on their own effort, diligence, and skill. This has been a cab thing, like, bashed in my head.
Yeah, and I really have been trying, and we've talked a lot about it, and like we're really good about it on this team. We want to do everything the right way. But just for you, with earning your spot in the Legacy Club, which is when you collectively earn $1 million in your Beachbody business, how long did that take you to do that? Like, that, I'm guessing, because I think I remember you hitting it a little while ago. Like, it's that's the thing. I like it was a long-term goal, right?
Yeah, I'm actually looking at, they sent it to me, but because of pandemic, I think it took, so this is what you get when you're in the Legacy Club. This is it here, this thing. Now, the thing is, this is the year they got it to me, but this happened during the pandemic. So it says 2021, but I hit it, I think, in 19.
Okay.
So I signed up, let's see, I signed up in 2011, and I didn't do anything for 2 years. So that's 2013. Then I started building the business in 13. So it took me to hit the $1 million club. It took 6 years, 7 years.
It's not a long time. Like, that's still not a long time, right? Like, that's, I think too, talking about any kind of business, and I've actually personally looked into opening like a brick and mortar business, and where you have to take out a business loan that you're going to be paying back for years before you even turn a profit. So to know that not only can you turn a profit, but you can earn a significant passive income while you're working a very important full-time job. Like we're not even talking like I work from home in finance. I don't have a lot of stress. You ran the New York State Police, which is a lot of stress and a lot of like scary situations. Like, so to know that you were able to do it in that situation, it's just very encouraging to me personally, knowing that like, what's my excuse, right? To see that. So thank you for sharing that. I think that's really, it's just good to know and to kind of see your timeline.
No, absolutely. And I think somebody said, how did you navigate working as a state trooper and running your business at the same time? I think this is this. Like I said earlier, making sacrifices. I really get into details of it in one of the chapters in my book. And actually, I'm just trying to see what it says. Because basically what it comes down to, yeah, you must be willing to make sacrifices. Is chapter 8 in the book. And what it is that I had to give up things that I know weren't serving me to help me grow. Like I had the vision of what this business can do for Kristen and I. And I knew that in order to do it while working, like I retired from the state police at 43 and people called me crazy, but you know what? I'm home now with my 3 daughters every single day because I was willing to make the sacrifices early on. And that for me was, like I said earlier, I did not watch TV at night, or Kristen would work the business in her bed, like on her phone with the TV on. For me, I was in the office, not watching the Met games, just sitting here and working and getting up earlier to get my workouts in before my kids got up, which we still do today. I'm still a big believer, which is a whole nother thing I can get in, my morning routine. Like it's super important that I still get up early. I get my meditation in. I don't have any banners popping up on my phone. My notifications go off at 9:30 at night. There's nothing. So I wake up, I'm meditating, I'm doing my workout, I'm doing the PD, and then I'm ready because I'm primed to be a better dad, a better husband. But it sacrifices me getting up a little earlier. But that hour getting up earlier is I get so much more out of it than if I had an extra hour sleep, because I accomplished so much more for my mindset mentally. So I think with the state police, the Beachbody became my positive environment to be part of. I loved it. So that pushed me through hard times. But I just knew like it wasn't about having more time. It was how I managed my time. And I had to cross the things off and the things that weren't helping me grow and serving me. I mean, that was it. It was nothing crazy, but it's actually doing the work.
Yeah, I think too, like, talk about naysayers. I mean, this is a majority female run business. So I can't even imagine like being a police officer. I'm sure you heard people be like, oh, what are you doing? Like, I'm sure they gave you a hard time, but you just didn't care, which I love.
Yeah, I mean, the pyramid scheme thing I got, the state troopers busted my chops. I told you the Richard Simmons thing, they would joke about that. You're wasting your time. But here's the thing. 1 year ago, I went to the state police golf outing that's in the area where I worked in Troop K. And the guy that busted my chops the most and gave me the hardest time. And this is a guy I trained. He was junior to me, that once I cut him loose and he was, he had a couple of years on, was relentless in picking and making fun of and mocking, came up to me and was like, David, I have to say, first, I want to apologize to you for being such a dick, 12 years ago, but I can't believe what you created and what you and Kristen, what you have now. And if I only knew back then, I wish I signed up and was part of what you created. So your biggest naysayers, you prove them wrong by success. Mm-hmm. So I had that, but I had the vision. I saw people achieving it. And I'd said, you know what? My whole life and has been about, if I put my mind to something, I'm like relentless until I achieve it. And I just knew like, I'm going to succeed in this business no matter what. And I've had multiple people, but I will never forget that where I was standing. It was at dinner time after we had the golf round. We were waiting for food. It was open bar time. And he came up to me and he actually apologized from how he acted from like 12 years ago. Imagine that.
That's amazing. Well, one last question before we go. Yes. Is just tips on growing your followers. Mm-hmm. Like what you do to be able to grow.
So I think that for me, I still, two things. For Instagram, obviously we know Reels is the thing, but listen, I'm not dancing. Like for those of you that follow me, like you're not going to see me doing dancing. I like motivation. I like speaking. I like all the stuff. My book is about stuff with principles of success and motivation. So I make reels based on that. And that brings people into my pipeline that are also looking for similar stuff. So I definitely grow my following from doing reels, people that I message, and I see who's looking at my stories. So I'm being intentional by putting up content, putting up stories, putting up reels. On Facebook, I almost think like Facebook's coming back in a way, because I still connect with mutual friends, friends of friends, of people on there, and it's still hitting Success Club that way by building relationships with people, on my friends list, or going to people's pages that I'm friends with and seeing who their friends are and connecting with new people. I think sometimes we overcomplicate the process because we just don't want to do the work. That's the work that's exhausting and tiring and tedious. But at the end of the day, that's how you expand your market, and you need to do it. So it's nothing fancy. It's really not. It's nothing fancy.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
You're
You
welcome.
spent a lot of time with us. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys I took a lot of notes. I'm sure everyone did too. I'm going to post a recording in the team page to share it with anyone who couldn't make it. And Dave, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you at Super Weekend.
Yes.
City.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.